Welcome to In the Zone Sports with yours truly, Anthony Smith. And I am here to give you the news in sports. We had two games yesterday. If you're a Kansas City fan, you're happy. If you're a Dallas fan, you're disgruntled. As a Dallas fan, I have a lot of questions. I even heard it said on another talk show. Maybe it's time to trade Ezekiel Elliott. But I'm reminded of the guy on Game Day and his favorite line. Not so fast. But what is going on with Ezekiel Elliott? Laid the ball on the turf twice. The defense couldn't stop a nosebleed, let alone running water. And something to me just doesn't add up. How is it that a quarterback can only complete 9 passes, 188 yards, 2 TDs? Those stats just don't add up, but yet the team scores 38 points. Well, I'll tell you how. Turnovers, 24 points off of turnovers. That's a start. Not only did the Cardinals come up with the turnovers, they capitalized on them. One turnover that I think was a backbreaker. If Dallas could have scored on that drive, had the referee made the right call, it could have changed the game. Maybe. I don't know. It may have given them a boost of confidence, a boost of a little momentum going into the halftime, coming out knowing that, hey, we have the ball first. So, what kind of mood is Jerry Jones in? Well, we are about to find out. Because I'm pretty sure Jerry Jones is not in the best of moods.
The offensive line was the problem last night. Jeff Saturday, what did you see?
Yeah, it was a travesty, and the points he's making are could not be more truthful. Like if you look at it, it's such a simplistic defense that was being played against them, and it really is just counting, Greeny. I mean, when you talk about the blitzes that are getting home and the running to a weak side with 4 guys over there, I mean, it's literally basic counting, right? Count to 4. They got one more than us. We got to go the other way. When that guy's going to come and bring pressure, either he's got to throw it to the tight end or they got to slide to pick up that protection. But we made this statement last week when Dak got hurt. Everybody said, can Andy Dalton do this? It's not about Andy Dalton, right? It's about this offensive line, and they can't get it done. They're like a subway turnstile, man. At the first 2 passes, they had guys in their face. And by the way, Chandler Jones wasn't in the house. So this was not a 20-sack guy. This is just guys who are running by, getting pressure on your quarterback. There's no communication. You're not seeing any points. You're not seeing any talk between the offensive line and the running backs or tight ends. This thing is ugly. And here's the problem. You can't get this thing solved by handing it to Zeke because he's dropping it the first time he touches it. It's an absolute embarrassment when you look at the way my middle school football team is coached better than that and can execute better than that because it's simple. There is nothing complicated about the whipping they took last night.
Said a mouthful right there. Anyway, Jerry Jones, not in feel-good mood about Dallas's 2-4 record despite NFC East lead. The Dallas Cowboys woke up Tuesday in first place in the NFC East, or least, despite a 2-4 record following their 38-10 loss to the Arizona Cardinals. That is not enough to make even the eternal optimist owner and general manager Jerry Jones truly happy. I'm not in a feel-good mood, frankly. that we've got manna from heaven being in the East, Jones said on 105.3, The Fan in Dallas. These things have a way of evening out as you go along. Certainly, the NFC East having its challenges now. When you're not playing better than we are, it's hard for me to basically look at the end game, which is win the East, and get excited that we're better. That we may be slow, but we're ahead of you syndrome. We've got to get better to have the kind of season that makes sense for us. Dallas remains ahead of the Philadelphia Eagles, 1-4-1, New York Giants, 1-5, and Washington Football Team, 1-5. And I hope to God I don't get used to saying that come next year. In the woeful NFC East, the Cowboys' next two games are against divisional rivals at Washington on Sunday, followed by a trip to Philadelphia on November the 1st. According to Elias Sports Bureau, the Cowboys are the first team with a losing record to lead a division through Week 6 since the 1970 merger between the AFL and the NFL. The 2015 Colts and the 1984 Pittsburgh Steelers led their divisions with 3-3 records through 6 weeks. Despite the frustrations, Jones believes in the roster. Head coach Mike McCarthy, who has a 13-20-1 record in his past 34 games, and defensive coordinator Mike Nolan, whose unit is on pace to allow an NFL record 581 points. What do I feel good about with the entire group is our ability, Jones said. We do have the ability and we have the talent to make adjustments with the personnel we have. We just haven't done it. We will not have success until we take our personnel we got today and put it out there, not giving ourselves a big hole to dig out of. The Cowboys have a league worst minus 12 turnover ratio. Their 15 turnovers are the most through 6 games since 1960 when they were minus 15 in the inaugural year of the franchise. The Cowboys allowed 24 points off 4 turnovers in the loss to the Cardinals and have given up 84 points off turnovers this season. The Cowboys have lost quarterback Dak Prescott, ankle, left tackle Tyron Smith, neck, right tackle La'el Collins, and tight end Blake Jarwin, knee, for the season due to injuries. They lost projected starting defensive tackle Gerald McCoy to a torn quadricep in the first padded practice, and his replacement Tristan Hill to a torn ACL in Week 5 against the Giants. 5 other starters have been on injured reserve and returned or are in the process of potentially returning from injury. Pro Bowl right guard Zach Martin suffered a concussion in the first half Monday night against Arizona and did not return. We are dramatically different personnel-wise than we were in what we anticipated happening, Jones said. I don't need to go down through the list, but it's a big one. Other teams in the NFL have dramatic personnel changes, and it has impacted their record. But that is our game. That's what we do. Availability is right there with ability when it comes to personnel. So the next question is, okay, but what do? You adjust and you play with the personnel you got. You put your defensive plans in and offensive plans in, and you adjust accordingly. So there you have insight from Jerry Jones as to what he thinks, as to what he sees, and as to how he feels. And right now we know that he's not in a feel-good mood. So now my question is, can the Cowboys turn this thing around? You heard the panel say it's not about Andy Dalton. My assessment is this team needs to revamp that offensive line that Jerry Jones was once so proud of, because you can now see injuries and retirement is taking its toll on that offensive line. So now my question is, Jerry, what do you do? No, I do not agree with Jalen and Jacoby. I do not agree that you should go ahead and trade Ezekiel Elliott. Yes, when it's that bad, you sit him out for a couple of series. Do I have confidence in Tony Pollard? Darn right I do. Look at what he did when he came in. He was about the only bright spot in the game, offensively, for the Cowboys. So if it takes sitting Ezekiel Elliott out a couple of series until he can get his head on straight, then by God, ride Tony Pollard. At best, Ezekiel Elliott was fool's gold in the game against the New York Giants, because now you're thinking, okay, he's cracking on the door of finally getting that 100-yard game. And if he gets that 100-yard game, it's a different ball game. He had 91 yards against the Giants, the same game that Dak got hurt in. So now, you know, and everybody else know, who's your main man. If Dak is the man, then your second man, according to Ezekiel Elliott, would be himself, because Zeke came out on record and said that Dak, this is his team. So if it's Dak's team, then when Dak is out, Zeke, you have to step up. And stepping up doesn't mean putting the ball on that carpet. But no, I do not agree. Once again, I will say it. I will call their names. They're on the 4-letter network. No, I do not agree with Jalen and Jacoby that you should go ahead and trade Zeke and just start this new experiment all over. No. I say at the end of the day, you pay your quarterback for one. Injury or no injury. Then you start looking at your defense of personnel and try to acquire some good trades that will help that team defensively. And Jerry, you know what to do. Revamp your offensive line. You've done it before. It's time to do it again. Well, that is my commentary for this week on In the Zone. Check back in with me tomorrow. I will have some more news for you on In the Zone. I will give you World Series updates. I will give you some statistical breakdowns of games to come. So you want to tune back in to In the Zone with Anthony Smith, your leader in sports podcast. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Yes, you have been listening to In the Zone Sports Talk with Anthony Smith, the leader in sports talk podcast. Tune back in tomorrow as he will have updates on World Series, who is the winning pitcher, who is the losing pitcher, more news from the NFL, more news from the NCAA, and oh, check this out. Still to come, you will also get Negro League baseball history, all right here on In the Zone Sports Talk podcast with yours truly, Anthony Smith. So check it out. It's In the Zone.